Okay, the time is 12 o'clock straight up. It is Monday, May 12th, 2025. This is a special city council meeting. We just have one item on the agenda today, but I believe we do need to start with a roll call. Correct?
Councilor Doty?
Here.
Stotty?
Here.
Williams?
Here.
Allgood?
Here.
Dittenberg?
Here.
Very good. Thank you so much. We do have 5 or 6 council members able to come today. Do appreciate you being here. I know this was short notice, so we'll just jump right into it. Let Mr. McDonald give his presentation for this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I appreciate Council taking the time to convene this special meeting. This could have waited until next week for the regular council meeting, but we feel like under the circumstances, we don't want to put off any procurement of goods that we may need for some of our water projects that are coming up. So what you have before you is procurement for 5 pumps that will be replacing the existing pumps at well 17. And as you know, there at well 17, we have the large water reservoir, the 2 million gallon tank, and then we also have a booster station that boosts water into zone 2 and zone 3. When this system was designed, it was designed to be able to push a lot more water than how it's currently configured. The pumps right now push about 690 gallons a minute each. But it was actually designed to be able to push about 1,400 gallons each. And so the pumps, the smaller pumps were installed sometime back, and now we're at the point where we want to upsize those and make sure we're getting the full capacity out of that station. There are several vendors in the valley that, well, there are at least a few that sell pumps, but the reason why this is a sole source is because the equipment that we have in the booster station accommodates a certain type of pump. And if you use a different type of pump that is not accommodated, then you have to switch out all of the pumping equipment, the pumping housing and everything else. And that ends up adding cost to the project. And in addition to that, it adds time. This project is the installation of this project is very technical, where we can't be down on our system. This is a very critical booster station, so we have to do one pump at a time and keep things moving. And so we want to have pumps that are very compatible, that can be swapped in quickly and not have to go in and do a lot of retrofitting to the existing system. And so working with our consultant, they identified C.H. Spencer as the only vendor in Idaho that can supply this specific type of pump that is compatible with the configuration and the setup that we already have in the system. These pumps will be ordered. I know that the memorandum says that they are, I crossed it out there, 21 to 23 weeks out. After talking to the supplier, they think they can have pumps here in 10 to 12 weeks, and so it's much quicker than what was on the memorandum. I've been working with them directly to make sure that the contract is in good order. The contract was reviewed by Mr. Waterman, and he had comments. We pushed the comments back onto the vendor, and they were okay with those comments, and they made the corrections that were recommended by our attorney. And so the action before you then is to approve the sole source purchase of these 5 pumps through this vendor and get those on order. Even after this approval today, if council decides to approve, we still have to, per the sole source option in state code, we still have to wait 14 days so that it can be noticed, so that if there is any other vendor in the area that can accommodate that, they have the right to come forward. We don't think there is, and we've been told by the vendor that there is not. And so we are ready to move forward and start that 14 days and get these on order as quick as we can. And that is why I have brought this forward as a special agenda item, special meeting today. And I appreciate you all taking the time to meet. One other thing I will mention, and I apologize for not mentioning this is a budgeted item. We have the funding for this project, and this is part of our comprehensive water system upgrade plan that we have. It has been reviewed by finance, and from a financial standpoint, we're in line with everything. And with that, I stand for any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thank you so much. So essentially, the reason for this meeting is just to get that clock started a week earlier, rather than waiting till next Monday, allows that time frame to start today rather than a week from today.
Correct, Mr. Mayor. There's a lot of concern with vendors with regards to tariffs and supply chain issues and things coming from other countries now. And so I didn't want to wait another week. I wanted to just get this started as quick as possible.
Okay, very good. I see a lot of green microphones up here. We'll start down there and head this way, Mr. Dittenberg.
Rob, thank you very much. I think Ashley alluded to this several months ago, that our systems weren't working at capacity. If I did the math right on this, it looks like we're doubling our water capacity by doing this, this project now.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Dittenberg, this enables us to draw water out of our tank that we have there, the 2 million gallon tank, quicker. And that becomes a critical factor, not so much for your daily use. The daily use is always going to be about the same. But in the case of an emergency like a fire event or a structure fire, it allows us to pull quicker, and that helps us be able to meet those needs at a quicker rate.
Would this also then allow for expansion throughout the system, or is this to simply meet the existing need?
This currently, the expansion throughout the system, I think, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Dittenberg, I think the expansion throughout the system is better defined through new wells that we're proposing to put online, and that's going to actually expand capacity. This pump station boosts into Zone 2 and Zone 3, and this will primarily help during peak events when we have all the water in the storage tank and we need to get that water to specific locations quicker. That's really what this is helping. This is not increasing the overall capacity of our system. It's increasing the ability to be able to serve those peak times more efficiently.
Councilor Allgood.
Thank you. Rob, the 353,000, is that just the pumps, or is that pumps and installed?
That includes that's the pumps. So that's the pump equipment, the pumps and the motors and everything that is included in that building. We have other projects going on. There is a project on the books for this whole station, and I think it's about 1.5 million, and it includes upsizing some of our trunk lines so that we can push water out to the system easier. And so this is just one part of a larger project that we're working on.
And kind of a silly question, but is there any resale value on our existing pumps?
If the existing pumps are usable, we may use those at other locations. If they are not usable but they have value, then I think there is resale value or maybe the ability to sell those. Generally, our pumps that we have had in there, I think have been in there for quite a while, and unfortunately, we kind of beat some of our stuff into the ground, and so there may not be a lot of resale value. These are, of course, upsized, and so you're talking about 75 horsepower and I think 60 horsepower pumps.
Thank you.
Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rob, you touched on my question before I could even ask it, but I want more thought
Sure.
on it. You mentioned tariffs. So do you even know whether or not this is going to be impacted by tariffs? And if it is, it could be dramatically different in pricing somewhere along the way, or is this taking tariffs into account?
That is a good question, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Williams, it's very hard to assess what tariffs are going to be, and there's a clause in the contract that says that the vendor, they feel like they need to be made whole, and so if they start producing these pumps and getting them manufactured and tariffs has some implication, then they feel like that they want to be able to pass that on to us, and that's not unusual. Most of their equipment is actually fabricated in the United States, I found out, in Texas, but there are some components that come from overseas, and so we don't know exactly how that's going to pan out, but we're trying to work with them. The sooner I feel like we can get this rolling, then the better situation we're in, and we've tried to get a sense from them, and nobody knows what tariffs are doing. It's hard to predict.
Well, sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
You answered the big question. Most of the components are made in the U.S. I'm just thinking 100% of 353,000 is a lot to find somewhere in the budget. But
Yeah.
if most of the parts are coming from the U.S., I think we're probably in better shape than we could be.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Williams, when I talked to the vendor, they said that their plant is in Texas, and most of the components they have there, it sounded like most of the components are in the United States, but there's still things that are coming in from all over the place.
Councilor Stoddard?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Rob, first of all, I did hear about an hour ago on the way over here that they've reduced the tariffs in half already, and they're still negotiating, so that might help on some of those components.
Cheaper?
Yeah, cheaper, yeah. Refresh me, excuse my ignorance, Zone 2 is what now? What area
Oh,
roughly?
Very good. Zone 2 is the largest, I believe it's, I don't have my paper. Zone 2 is basically straddles both sides of the interstate. Everything out in Sky Ranch and out to the east is Zone 2. And then on the south side of the interstate, everything basically east of 21st Avenue. And it goes all the way out to Lake and kind of down in that area, down where the Charles development's
Right.
going, Lake and Karcher. That is all Zone 2.
Okay,
Zone 3 is a much thinner and smaller area that is kind of on the hill that goes around. And then Zone 4, of course, is up on top of the hill back at 10th and Karcher.
okay, good. I just want to make sure that some of this includes that development that's out by the lake there.
Yes, so this booster station serves Zone 2 and Zone 3.
Okay. Then the other question I had is for Oscar. Did you review that contract too, besides Waterman?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Stoddard, I did not. This was reviewed by Doug Waterman for
Okay.
legal review, so that was sent to him to do.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Councilor Doty?
Just one quick one, I think. You said you were working with Ray Lynn. Clearly, she's here and hasn't hit her microphone to say she opposes this, but if she's here, we always like to put her on the spot and say, do you have any concerns with this, Ray Lynn, or is it good to go?
It is good to go. I worked with Rob and his team to go through all the purchasing. We did a lot of due diligence before we just came to the resolution of a sole source, and then within the budget, so yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, excellent. So with that, is there a motion? Councilor Allgood?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion that we approve the purchase request as described.
Do you have a second? That's a motion from Councilor Allgood, a second from Councilor Doty for approval of the resolution. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, with that, I don't know if,
There isn't any voting.
both, so Madam Clerk, if you do the roll call.
Allgood,
Yes.
Dittenberg,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Stotty,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Very good. So that motion passes unanimously with the councilors present. So that was, again, the only item on the agenda. So just for an item of quick discussion for the city council to be aware and for you to think about. So we will be bringing choice for a new fire chief to council next Monday. And in the discussions that I've had with them, a reoccurring theme is starting to come up. This is the last 3 or 4 appointments we've made that they have, and it seems to be getting more serious, of concerns about the time of appointment. Where we're one of the only cities that does have a time frame for appointments for our appointed officials. Other cities, it's just appointed until you're not appointed, either you resign or you do something bad where 4 council members and the mayor or all 6 council members feel it's appropriate to get rid of them. So that, we've talked about this in the past, but it's becoming more and more prevalent. I know one of the candidates indicated that it does give them some very serious concern to take the job, knowing that in 3 years they may not have the job, just due to political pressures or things like that. So, I don't know the reason why it was started back in the day, but I know some of the thought has been, well, does it provide the city any protection? And Oscar can contradict me if he says anything, but I think it almost is the opposite of that. We've seen that with our HR director recently where she was not reappointed, and it's all public knowledge. She was awarded $400,000 because of her not being reappointed. And so obviously that doesn't provide any, in my opinion, any protection there. So just something to consider, that if you'd be amenable for that coming forward with just an appointment, and appointed until either that individual decides to retire or there is something of a fault that either the mayor and 4 council members or all 6 council feel that they're not appropriate in that position, can be removed at any time. And it helps to kind of take that power and authority from the mayor and kind of dilutes it to the council as well and provides more power and authority in that regard. So just something to consider as those do come forward. I have seen that recurring and it's getting stronger and stronger, and it was very voiced to me this last week, that concern from one of the candidates. So just something to think about as that does come forward next week. So, okay. That is all that we have for today. So unless there's anything else,
Mr. Mayor,
so we stand adjourned.
okay, I was going to make
Very good.